Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Party Makes Things Worse, Song of the Reliquary. This is episode 2, The Dragon of the Tomb Desert, and if you watched episode 1, the reason for that should be relatively clear. Our party is about to make a decision about what to do about the arrival of the Dragon of the Tomb Desert here on this grand caravan. To quickly catch you up on what has happened so far, unfortunately names did not survive a small technical change, so we're going to have to really go into the dream space here. Our characters are Hilver, Bartholomew, Lemon, Harold, and Beej. A group of adventurers who have gathered together as a part of a grand caravan, an ancient tradition of this world where people seeking to go on a dangerous quest decide to travel there and back together. What happens there is not part of that arrangement, and so more than occasionally that tale is 100 of us forged out together, and 35 came back and no one was talking on the way back. Those sorts of situations can certainly arise. As a part of gathering together for that caravan, we learned little bits of information about what brings our party together and what makes them all willing to sign up for something so dangerous as going out into the Tomb Desert, an expanse of dead gray ash and sand that was previously, in an age long past, home to the Deathwoken primacy. A group shrouded mostly in mystery. Those of you who are sort of historians may know more, but it would be like knowing a bunch about the Byzantine Empire, right? It is unlikely that somebody is going to have the details on that other than maybe a few names and a folktale or two. You are headed out to what you know is called the Tomb of the Vemeral, and thanks to a good roll from Stefan, we know that they are mage hunters of this ancient primacy, a very strange governmental name for a group that basically only listens to themselves, and that they had many legends surrounding them and were united in that there was 3 Vemeral at any time, one with a bow, one with a hammer, and one with a sword and shield, who would go around dealing with mages that apparently, one way or another, had rubbed the primacy the wrong way. That grand caravan turned out to have over 200 members and 2 skyships. One, a sort of pirate aesthetic vessel that our party quickly found their way onto and are now traveling on. The other, one of the brilliant and pristine ships of Edifice, the great flying city. We ran a couple of errands, we introduced ourselves to the members of the crew of the pirate ship, and then headed down the Gordellan Mountains. We then spent a few days sort of rubbing elbows, getting to know the crew a little bit better. The only significant note I have there is Beej has set up that Calroy probably has a crush on Beej due to a couple of good rolls, which is, I guess, good to know. There is an elf sort of, what do you call it? What do you call somebody who does, like, odd jobs?
Handyman?
Yeah, like a handyman who is somewhat enamored with Beej and their straightforwardness. From there, Bartholomew, played by Nick, snooped around a little bit and discovered 2 potential threats. One, that there is apparently a spy for the Lophyllum Empire, who have a habit of attacking anybody that tries to enter this desert, and that the great dragon of the Tomb Desert will cross paths with the ship if they do not go fast enough. A few days later, the captain, nervous and anxious about the pace they are going, was proven right when 2 of our party members, more specifically, let me double check my notes here. Yes, Harold and Bartholomew simultaneously spotted the arrival of the Dragon of the Tomb Desert off in the distance, hidden under the light of the moon. That's all the real essentials, definitely leaving out some sort of finer details, so I guess if anybody had anything that they were very impassioned about being important, voice it now. But that is our basic recap. The party, having joined this caravan and now going out into the desert, have run into their first real threat. This dragon that they were warned about has arrived, and now there is a choice to be made. The vessel you are on was hired to protect the caravan from things like this, but might not be too hard to persuade the captain and crew to either try twice as hard or save their own butts and circle the desert and let whatever happens happens. What will the morality of our crew guide them to do? Find out on this episode. We're going to rip around with character facts, but very first, I have to say a very small and potentially embarrassing happy birthday to Bartholomew. Happy birthday, Nick. Take a point of inspiration to start the session off. Remember, the plan is to give those out like the DM's guide tells you to, so don't be afraid to spend those, because God willing and the creek don't rise. Those will be flying around a little more commonly than they normally do in our games. I am woeful at remembering to hand out inspiration, so I'm hoping a little impassioned attempt will serve us well. Who's ready with a character fact that we can really get this thing rolling?
I guess I can. Oh, you want to go?
Oh, go for it.
All right. So I think this is Hilver's second time outside of. Why am I blinking? We were in Bastion,
Cradle,
right?
Oh, Bastion.
Yeah. So like he sort of broke his or from Cradle he was sent to Bastion to sort of like do his own thing and sort of see if he could make any progress. But he did end up leaving at one point, kind of not realizing how stringent the rules were on him staying in Bastion, and he went over to the Glintz area because there was like so much like kind of like devastation and turmoil that he wanted to like really focus on trying to like create like a agricultural like rejuvenation deity there. So in his like practices, he kind of like went there, like stuck a stick in the ground in one of the fields, started like talking to some of the farmers, doing various like dances and stuff, like asking them about like trying to like put their players into this staff and think of like some sort of like agricultural god to like try to like pray to and help their fields like replenish after all the devastation, and was there for about a year trying this.
Whoa!
And, like a lot of people are kind of just like who's that crazy guy just wandering around? He talks kind of funny and stuff, and so like he never really like picked up too much steam. But at the end of it, like he kind of like packed up his bags and to go home. And when he picked up the staff, though, there were like a little flower sprouted from where it was initially. So it like was like, huh? And he noted that down as a curious kind of like side effect. Not what he wanted, but still like something happened.
Would you say that Hilver was trying to start a sort of farm valley, perhaps?
Get out of here. I was about to make a Footloose joke, so we were in totally different areas. Yeah, so I do think sort of what we learned in this moment is that there is some sort of infantile lower god, which, for those of you listening, I'm going to try to avoid sort of giving long passages about the lore of the world. Basically, the lower gods are closer to what we would think of as spirits. They can die, they can be born, they are shaped by the beliefs of those around them, but they are also sort of immediate. They help the people around them, assuming that you offer what you are supposed to offer and that you don't make them mad. Who's up next?
I'll go.
Great.
So Lemon, one of the items that he always has on him, and you can see around his neck, is a locket with a bit of Gwyn's Lake. It's a little locket with some droplets of that to make him feel like he's always at home.
Nice. That's very fun.
It sounds almost like a reliquary, which is super cool to think about. That's awesome.
Kind of adjacent to it. Just the river of that lake is not the river, just the water of the river of that lake. The water of that lake is just enough to give you a little glow. I think that's pretty cool. Who's next?
Harold's fact is that he was originally from a Moloch. He came to this city of Bastion a bit later on in his like mid-teens. But yeah, originally he was from one of the small mining towns that dried up.
Okay, solid. All right, who's next?
I'll go next. So, but first also, a little shout out to everyone here. It's a quiet Monday, but honestly, I couldn't ask for a better group of friends to spend this 31st on. So, thank you all. Love you guys. And now to the con man, Bartholomew. Usually running the train, finding any kind of way to make as much cash and as much intel as possible, mostly through his many chains and tokens of different religions. But one of the things he was actually good early in his career was telling spooky stories.
Here we go.
Bartholomew has never actually been to the desert, so he would listen and disguise himself as Daryl, Carol, Cheryl, and then take those stories and then enhance them for a little bit of coin, especially working with kids. He loves taking candy and coins from little children. But one of the things he actually never ever believed was that there was ever a dragon defending us. So he used to make up stories of even more terrible creatures in the Neverworld, but this was one of those that he definitely blew out of proportion. And now he is realizing it's coming true.
That's very good. I like that. We would cut away to some of those scenes if this was rather than a high budget TV show, like we say, if this was a high budget anime, we would have we'd have like 3 episodes of flashback right now, black and white screen, because we couldn't afford the dragon yet. So we would have to do some long, like, storytelling filler arc to pad out the season. Bless you. All right. I think that leaves one person left.
Well, I guess if Farmer's Valley isn't gonna go, I guess I'll go. So Beach, obviously he's hot.
Yeah, and sexy, which are 2 different things.
And
That was noted
also
very
sexy.
specifically.
He's hot and sexy. But what do hot and also sexy people have? Ear piercings. So he's got a couple, right? He's got his little cartilage hoop. He's got, some various jewelry. He's wearing rings. He's got his necklaces on. One that is very special to him that he touched, in his, introduction scene. But most importantly, he has this earring that he wears that holds a little tiny pick at the end of it. So the earring is a little pick so that he can play his various instruments at will whenever. But then he's done and he goes, nice, and he puts it back in his ear.
Beach is
It's very, very unsanitary.
Beach is such a douche. I love Beach.
Yeah, he's so unsanitary. It's for sure infected.
If I walked into a party and I saw an acoustic guitar, first of all, disgusting. If I then saw the musician pop their earring out and use that as a pick, I would leave that party. I'm done skis. It is
but
super
if,
cool,
if they
though.
looked like Beach, would you stay?
Me personally? No.
I always,
If I were someone else, yeah.
I always imagine having a quiver for the guitar picks would be cool. If you had kind of sort of the folds of a credit card thing where there's the layers, and if you had a bunch of them in it and it was strapped around the wrist, you could pull one out if you drop one.
He probably has one of those. You know what? Beach is the type of guy. He's got it strapped on his thigh, something like that.
You made
this is a sexy place.
We make a lot of jokes about what goofy characters you bring, and this is the most grounded character you've ever brought, and you still managed to really put a through line of ridiculous. I love Zabij and his younger competitive also Bard brother Beach very much. I can't wait to see how their relationship is sort of told through flashbacks. All right, and let's go ahead.
I was gonna say, let's put money. Do we think Beige the Younger is going to appear in this dungeon? I say yes.
I don't know how I would get him here.
In.
He's the final boss.
Random teleportation spell, maybe.
I have a random character fact, which is it's just because of pure coincidence. First mate, the only member of the crew you have not spoken to yet that is named and of importance is first mate Malcolm White. And Malcolm has begun to wonder what he did to piss the new people off, because you talk to every other member of the crew but Malcolm. And Malcolm's like, has walked up to the others and been like, did I say something on the first day? I don't remember saying anything, but they haven't even looked at me. Malcolm is wicked confused. That's my I guess my NPC fact. And with that, it's obviously time to get started. We're going to start, I think how everybody knew we would, roll initiative. Let's get an idea of who's going in what order. It's going to be you guys. This is not, as I visualized it, sort of a combat, right? This level 6 party cannot fight an ancient dragon, but knowing who's doing what in what order is going to be very important. The other things on the list is the Dragon of the Tomb Desert, your ship, the other ship, and the caravan. They are going to go as units, right? Making their attacks, doing the things they are trying to do. So think more about what your goal is as you make any given action, rather than sort of locking yourself super hard into which of my abilities do I use. Feel free to sort of lean out and be a little bit more narrative focused. But if you can factor in a spell, an attack roll, make those successes and get those high bonuses, it'll count for more victories on our sort of long journey here to surviving this encounter. With that, I'm going to ask people, did anybody get over a 20? Great. What do we get from Bartholomew?
25.
25. Unfortunately, you are Bart in my notes. What about for Lemon?
25.
I also rolled a 23.
Okay. Wow.
Really rolling some rocks here. We're going good.
And of course, for those of you who weren't aware, we started at level 6. We've got a lot of gear. We are punching up in these early levels here. All right. 20 to 15?
15.
Okay. I was getting a little worried. I was getting a little worried there for a second.
16. I have a +1 to my initiative.
Woohoo! Careful, everybody. Get out of the way.
Maybe one of my best initiative rolls of all time.
He's simply too good. I moved my list with all the characters' names on it. I gotta move it back.
Nice.
15 to 10?
Oh, I got a 12.
Okay, I was about to
Let's
be like,
go.
I thought I was gonna have to go down to the 10 to 5. Starting to get really desperate.
0 to 5.
Alrighty, just getting the last of our initiative in order here, and then we will be good to go. I will say, obviously, the two characters, Bartholomew and Harold, start thinking about it, because you two are currently the only people that know that this is about to happen, because the other spotter has fallen asleep in this late hour. I'm still getting the last things down, but you should definitely start mulling over what the plan is.
Tell you exactly what Bartholomew is doing.
I have a question.
Being his pants.
Just because I can't quite remember. Was this the ship that had the giant weapon on it?
Yes, if
Cool.
you are on deck, if you look down towards... I can't remember if it's the forecastle or the other thing. If you look towards the nose of the ship, you will see that mounted on it is a truly gigantic ballista with a huge bolt racked in it.
Cool, thank you.
So I will just go for character right here, because Bartholomew is shaking as he's looking at this dragon of the Tomb Desert. It's the shadow. The shadow is real. And he just screams out.
Great.
And as he's doing that, cowardly running to get underground and cast heroism on... Well, we're just gonna go with Lemon, because he runs into Lemon, gets his ass knocked down. Beware!
Oh no.
And just runs, but cast heroism on you.
For what does heroism do?
So heroism is going to be you're imbued with bravery. Until the spell ends, creatures immune to frightened condition, and you gain temporary hit points equal to my spellcasting modifier, which
Ooh,
is...
That's huge. That's great.
Yeah, I like
Plus 5.
Now,
I love 5 HP.
as you call out to alert the ship, roll either a performance or a persuasion check. Performance if it is only breath support carrying you ahead. Persuasion if you are trying to be emphatic. Grab them by the lapels and say, "You've got to do something!"
I mean, performance is actually higher, but he's legitimately scared, so... I'm actually, you know what? I'm actually going to lower my chance. I'm going to do persuasion. He's genuinely scared.
Okay.
And that pays off, I think. That's a 19.
With a 19, absolutely that pays off. This yell goes out, and immediately you all begin to hear the sounds of activity and shouting from a couple of other areas on the top deck where other people were not paying as close of attention. Up in the rigging where some people were up attending to sails, eyes snap to the horizon, many of them in unison, and immediately the entire ship comes alive. The phenomena of seeing a monstrous creature approaching and moving to action is something that the crew is very familiar with. And the other thing I will say, for those of you who maybe were hoping that something else would happen, you watch the crew immediately start to head towards battle stations. So if any of you wanted there to be an alternate reality, or if as a group you decided you just want to run, you're going to have to persuade the crew to run, is the immediate impression that you get. I am going to, technically Lemon would be up next, but this is basically going to be not a surprise round as much as an informed round, and so I will cut down to Harold next. Harold, you are on the deck of the ship. You hear Bartholomew begin to yell. You know what he's yelling at. You've already seen it. And you're just starting to watch the crew snap to and move to cannons, the rigging. Some people already tying themselves next to the positions that they have to stay at no matter what happens. Everything has come to life very quickly. What do you do?
Harold looks at the assembled group here. He hears Bartholomew yell out, getting everybody scrambling. He looks down, and I think that I have an idea of where at least one of the party members is going to go. How far away is the ballista from where Harold is?
Not very far at all. This is a very large ship, but you described yourself as being sort of towards the middle deck, not necessarily too close to where Bartholomew was. So I'll say it's kind of up to you. You can make a luck roll if you want. You are either right next to it or very far from it, depending on which side of the ship you were on. Do you want to make a luck check, or do you want to say, given that your character previously seeded that they were afraid of what might be out in the desert, that you have been sort of near the ballista the whole time?
He's been near the ballista. That's where he's been staring out.
Yeah.
He looks back and sees Lemon like darting towards where Harold is. Harold previously cast light on a bunch of rounds, ammunition, so he pulls them out, loads them into his revolver, and points it up, and he starts shooting tracer rounds, so the ballista has a better visual.
Are you trying to shoot at the dragon across an incredible distance, or are you firing flares into the sky?
I'm firing flares, that way you can see it track out, and when it gets close, he's just going to be shooting it, so there's a bead.
Great. So I will say, I think make a weapon attack roll as the sort of skill check for this, as you basically just try to use your skill and abilities to, if you think about it, fire a bunch of bullets from a moving ship that will stay in the sky long enough to be useful for anybody. You go to do this action. Let's see what the result is.
I'm going to use my inspiration.
Great.
That is an 18.
18, definitely a success. These, you all hear just bang, bang, bang. These shots go off and light starts to fill the sky high above. And quickly, from the caravan below, you begin to hear shouts. Nobody was informed that there would be any sort of warning system, but what else could that be? As quickly you begin to see the caravan start to pick up. People begin to move faster. You hear the distant cracking of horsewhips and just the yelling of people issuing commands to those things that do not need it. You see that same wild-haired, grayed old man like rip his little weird car into a higher gear and pull ahead of the caravan. He apparently either has a plan or is running away. You will find out in the rounds to follow. So there is our next success, though. We're going to go back right up to the top of initiative, and we're going to have Bartholomew again. You are way faster to react than everybody else. And so you yell, climb down the rigging, reach out, touch Michael's character, whose name is not in front of me right now. Lemon. Cast heroism on him, and then dash down below decks. As you take those first couple of steps past the door that would have blocked sound, are you yelling something? Are you headed somewhere? Where is this turn going?
At this point, he is just hysterical. He's just avoiding everybody. He's fending for himself. He wants to hide, at least in the moment. But just screaming to everybody, just, the shadow, the desert is here! The shadow!
I will remember in my notes, it's always funny to learn something about your own world. I'll for sure jot down that people call this dragon the shadow of the desert, for sure, skis. That is down in the notes. You begin to call out as you make your way around. Make another persuasion or performance check as you try to call in anybody who slept through your first group of yells. You decide needs to get up and get moving.
That is an 18.
Yeah.
Great, another huge success.
So this, you know, how far am I from? I guess I should have done that before. Is what I was saying. Oh, he's probably gonna find his way back up and inspire people. So.
Yeah, I think I totally understand what
Right
you're
now.
going for, right? You're terrified, you want as many bodies in the room as possible, and you don't want to be in the line of fire until there's more people on deck to be targets. Yeah. So you run below deck and begin to yell, and people start to pass you very quickly. I will say in the early moments of that, as you run down and you start sort of yelling, you are opening random doors and yelling, and in one of them you see Calroy Elmroot looking into a mirror going, no, I thought... clearly rehearsing a conversation to himself, turns hearing the yelling and sprints out of the door to join the fray as people start to just funnel up this very tight 2 stairways that lead up to the top deck while other people start to go down. You see the powder monkeys, this collection of a couple of teens or small folk like halflings, start to scramble to the lower decks where they can man the cannons, and a few other people head to the top deck, assumably to either keep the ship flying or attend to the weapons there. Great. Super solid. We're building up some real success here. Lemon, you are up next. The action has crystallized. What's your plan?
Yeah, I'm sprinting to that ballista.
Before anybody has ever even had a chance to move, this ship has immediately, the storm's call has come to life. People are at battle stations, and in that moment, Lemon, you dash the 30 free across the deck and like jump up onto where this ballista is fired. This is not some medieval like hand crank thing. You lock in and pull like a diesel starting cord, and the engine begins to glow blue, and the whole thing starts to like move with your direction as you start to aim this ballista up into the sky. Are you planning to fire? I will say the dragon is within range already. This thing is
hell yeah.
wild.
I'm gonna take a beat from what they did, and I'm casting light on my blister round also, so I can track it and change trajectory for the next shots.
You reach your hand up and out and hit this ballista bolt that has been loaded that begins to glow. You see it already is covered in these bright blue sort of cerulean lights that trace down the heft of it, which is, again, like 10 feet long. This is a preposterous thing. I will say, you have a +3 to this check on top of whatever else your benefit sort of would be. You get the sense the entire array is not magically empowered, but the disposable bolt, it would seem it was cheaper to enchant a bunch of those than to enchant the entire ballista. And so you load this up, and these automated cranks pull back a like steel cable that locks into place.
Mm-hmm. Alright. Cool. Alright, so it was with a +3, so that is a 30.
A 30 most certainly does strike out. No damage needed on this. It does its desired task, which it sounds like is to mark the dragon and get it distracted. As this bolt fires, you're all expecting the like heavy thunk of a siege weapon, and instead there is this truly subsonic that fires as this thing launches streaking bright blue across the distance and slamming into the side of the Dragon of the Tomb Desert. Immediately, a horrible screech echoes out across the space. And if any of you had had a spyglass up and pointed out, you would have seen the rifleman asleep on the other ship launch up out of his sleep, the little falcon flitting off of his shoulder, look around, and then look over with a look of pure dread on his face as he realizes that he has slept through the literal thing he was hired for. What a bummer.
I have a question. How far is it?
In game terms, the answer is ridiculously far. I do not have sort of. If we all had invested a bunch of money in Roll20 and tokens, I would tell you it's 1,000. But it is. I will say, if you want to think about like Call of Cthulhu, it is long range increment. Medium is when it's going to start being like, can it attack me? Short will mean it's chasing you.
More than 100 feet, though, is what
Way more than 100 feet.
Cool.
If you have, as we're going through this whole combat, if you have a question that specific, please ask the specific question. Don't feel the need to generalize. Say, is it within 100 feet? And I'll be able to answer that a little bit easier. Great. That is Beej. Beej, are you below deck or above deck?
I think at this point I'm probably above deck. At this point.
Great.
But I think in the style of the Titanic, Beej is whipping out his instrument. It's time to play. It's time to play. And Beej is going to play a song for everyone, so that, I guess, creatures within 30 feet gain advantage on saving throws against being frightened or charmed, which I don't want any of these people to leave. They are great blockers, so I just don't want them to leave.
Beej, who spent a good chunk of last session trying to get people out of the caravan who shouldn't be there, now sees the sort of harvest of that reaping and is ready to be defended by a bunch of warm bodies and starts to just lick out a counter charm. As that music begins to fill the space, you all do feel emboldened. I imagine for many of you, perhaps that is a surprise, who have only ever seen Beej play for fun, actually feeling magically girded against the outside world in this moment. A couple of the crew members who had had a little bit of panic behind their eyes steel themselves and work more efficiently, while others who were maybe a little too excited also come down to a nice neutral level, the kind of place you want to be. Everybody is in the pocket. So that's great to know that they're going to have advantage on those. Did you have anything else you wanted to do, or are we shuffling on?
I feel like I don't know if my bardic inspiration will really do much for you, Lemon. I feel like you rolling a 30 is.
I had a plus 15 to that roll.
Is it gone now? Like you?
No.
Okay, never mind. I'm good. I'm playing my heart out right now.
The big issue is going to be, and I will just be frank about this, one of the downsides of this sort of pseudo-fantasy western setting, someone's going to have to reload that crossbow, that ballista. It's not going to reload itself. All right, I'm going to... up next is the other ship, whose name we never learned. This huge gilded ship of edifice, apparently built for this voyage, which is preposterous. It's like having a skyscraper built because you'll be in town next week. Begins to prepare to act. Okay, you all watch the massive form of the ship. You would see two things happen. Number one, the sniper on the crow's nest reaches out and grabs a rope attached to the top and pulls it down, and a loud sort of klaxon bell begins to ring across the board of the ship. Quickly, word is spread around, and it vanishes, and the ship reappears as if it has used some version of the spell Blink. It appears on the other side of your ship, having put you interposed between it and the Dragon of the Tomb Desert. That is
puts it in a breath range.
That's very true. That is Ship 2's action in this combat. Just to start, they reposition to a more favorable and 100% leave the caravan hopelessly exposed. They seem to have their own agenda.
Survival. Understandable. Understandable agenda.
Certainly. Okay, I'm just looking at my own notes here, making sure there's nothing else that I need to sort of note. Great. It is the Dragon of the Tomb Desert's turn. You have attacked it, and the other ship has done something big and magical and is shinier than yours. So it is just going to be a d20 roll. I doesn't care about the caravan at all yet. It is looking at the two shinies. Would you guys like to be 10-1 or 11-20?
11-20, baby. Gotta roll big.
And so that is it not attacking you and instead attacking the other ship?
Yeah.
Great. 6. It does not go after the caravan. It does not go after the other ship. It goes after the ship that harmed it. This dragon begins to tear downwards, going into a nosedive. You see just impossible, incredible speed from this beast as it launches across the distance. Sort of, for the watchful eye, they would see that little, like, air cone start to form around the nose of this undead dragon, which, unlike a living dragon, has no need to worry about harming itself slightly with a little bit of, re-entry sickness, and will sort of launch out. And I will say, the first thing it would do, because it's what it would do, is it will use its action to let out a horrible scream. And I need everybody to roll wisdom saving throws with advantage because of the counter charm.
Is this to be frightened?
Yes.
I cannot be frightened because of heroism.
You shrug it off effortlessly.
That's a wisdom saving throw, you said?
Yes. Very clutch for the ship. They rolled a 3 and then a 10, but that 10 gets them up to a 14, which does pass.
All right. And a 15 here.
Great. Success.
I rolled the same thing 2 times.
No.
I rolled double 13s.
What's that in total, though?
Just 13.
Alas. Spencer,
Just
what you got?
13 twice.
21.
Okay, great. And Nick?
9.
9. Okay. Nick is frightened. Beej is barely frightened. The crew rolled a 14. The DC was 14. They had a 10 plus 4. So that was very tight, but it went through. Thankfully, your spell, your counter charm, I should say, still effective as you begin to play it while slowly moving down the stairs. No, you are not required to flee. You just cannot purposefully move closer, and you have disadvantage on a bunch of stuff while you can see it. I can't remember what those are off the top of my head, so we'll pick those up as we continue. That is the action of the Dragon of the Tomb Desert. It is now within medium distance of the ship, so it can hit you and you can hit it. If it gets within close, that is very bad for you all. Remember, you are a ship with long-range weapons. Getting into a melee fight with this dragon is a bad plan. All right? Great. Harold. You're up, you just saved, you shrug off this fear, you see movement everywhere. The ballista is being manned, but it hasn't been loaded. The ship has not begun to move yet, the captain is not yet above deck, and crew members all across the deck of the ship feel a moment of panic and manage to suppress it and keep going. But you all are the target right now. What do you do?
Who's manning the captain's wheel right now? What's the command center look like?
Yeah, so currently on it, ironically enough, is the first mate, Malcolm White, is just sort of keeping an eye on it. You get the sense that this ship does not need to be super actively sort of captained in the way that some other vessels might, but they were basically just sort of in a chair near the wheel in case anything happened, and are now holding it with a look that says, I'm not the guy for this, with a look on their face that says, I'm just the person that was standing here.
All right, Harold is towards the front of the ship. I assume that pretty close is where this wheel is. So I'm going to run up that way, giving Lemon a bit of a, sorry, I'm not loading up the big weapon for you look, and is going to grab the wheel and twist it to try and go underneath the ship that blinked next to us.
Okay, gotcha. So sort of trying to take advantage of what we described last time, that airships have this sort of odd pendulum to them to swing and go under it. Okay, definitely a dexterity-based check. I will say, do you have proficiency with any kind of vehicle?
Nope.
So
Calligrapher's supplies.
So this is where we get into an odd spot, right? There's some, we haven't written the book for Prospect yet. there's a lot more vehicles in Prospect than in the Forgotten Realms or Greyhawk. So here's what I'll say. Roll a luck check to see if you have training with an air vehicle.
3. I've never touched one of
You
these bad
grab it
boys.
and go, I've driven a normal ship before. Woo! You can go ahead and make it is a flat dexterity check. To reposition would be DC 10, and I will just roll the luck check again. To succeed and have the dragon definitely attack the other ship, it is DC 15. If you get a DC 5, something bad's gonna happen.
18.
18. You
Plus 1, let's go.
go to grab the wheel and you're like, I've never flown an airship. And then you remember, you looked at this ship from down below, and what was the very first thing you noted with your first perception check? It looks like a ship on the water. And so you immediately go, well, I kind of know how it's going to, like, how the weight's going to move. And so you do this insane pendulum swing maneuver, sending the weight out and around where the other ship's sort of undercarriage is only meant for flying. This ship has a heavier bottom swing. And so you are able to sort of leverage the weight of the ship, and the whole thing, like, skirt drifts a good, like, 60 feet in the air to the other side of the ship. You immediately watch the person in the crow's nest eyes whip around to the ship move wide and whip back, and see on the wheel of that ship, in his full uniform with medals, the Viscount at the wheel of the ship shoots a look over to you that almost does psychic damage. He is so angry as you pull off this maneuver. With an 18, the Dragon of the Tomb Desert's target will focus over from you to this ship. Hilver, you're up.
All right, I will have definitely by now, I guess, stop providing light for the crews doing just their general maintenance and just been like, all right, everyone, remember your breathing that you've been working on the past couple days, especially if that thing's roar gets a little bit more foul than that first sound it made. And I will go up to, I guess, Lemon, you're over by the ballista. I will go over to you and I guess use Bless.
Okay.
And I guess I can...
You can hit a
It's
lot of
within
creatures,
30.
3 or 4, right?
3, yeah. So I'll hit Lemon, myself, and who else would be the closest to us?
Within 30 feet, I think only Beej, because
Yeesh, okay.
Harold ran up to the wheel.
All right, yeah. So I cast Bless, and this, like, I guess a little bit of, like, energy from Cradle kind of, I guess, emanates out and sort of, like, brings that kind of, like, eternal, like, stalwartness to everyone.
This sort of swirling of onyx and purple magic flows around you as you channel the realm of the dead and call upon those spirits still laying there to assist your allies. And little wispy souls, little spirits start to sort of weave around each of you, guiding your hands slightly, giving you that bonus from Bless, which is plus 1d4, right?
Yeah, to attacks and saving throws.
Absolutely. Anything else on your turn?
I guess I'll just be standing here by Lemon and just be like, that was a nice shot.
All right. With that, it is the turn for this ship. With the piloting already taken care of and one strike out, the most effective thing for them to do is to use the reload action. And so sure enough, very quickly after this, you see one of those grates on the slot on the leading down into the underdeck moves, and a halfling and a human teenager, both of whom are very well built through the shoulders and legs, walk up carrying 3 bolts mounted up on their shoulders, running across the space, and the smaller of the two of them, which is ironically the halfling, pulls up, loads it, and then ducks their fingers out of the way quick as a huge latch grabs the steel cable and starts to ratchet it back into place, and that has been reloaded. Normally they could roll a maneuver check, but there's not really a maneuver to roll. It has definitely already been taken care of. So I will say, already we're having to house rule. I will say they will give advantage. They can give sort of advantage. And I will have the ship give Bartholomew advantage because you are up next in the initiative order. Bartholomew, as you make your way down, the captain is running their way up towards the top, grabs you by the shoulders and goes, wait, what's the accent again? Oh yes, you have to get a hold of yourself, man! We have to survive! And pushes you out of the way and runs up top and awakens your survival instinct a little bit more vividly. And so you can take advantage on whatever it is that you do next. With that, it is the caravan's turn. The caravan is going to use the flee action and moves one large unit forward. But as a part of that, they are going to make an attack roll at disadvantage because they are so much larger than the two ships. All of a sudden, you all go from terrifying midnight fight with this dragon to being bottled in a fireworks show as spells and arrows begin to streak up like artillery fire from the caravan. Lances of blue and red and green and purple begin to just fire into the sky towards anywhere they think this dragon might be. Because they're prioritizing getting away, they'll have disadvantage on the attack roll, so their odds of doing anything are really quite low. No, okay. 15 and a 10. The 10 couldn't quite do it. They need to get a little bit better than that. The caravan does manage to flee, but fails to do any significant damage to the Dragon of the Tomb Desert. Okay, that puts us back at the top of initiative. That is the first round over. Bartholomew, you are up.
So, given that he's a little bit of a scary boy right now, and also can't really do much damage in just about medium distance, Bartholomew is going to just use what he knows best. So if you don't know, he's a bard from the College of Spirits. And bring into his bag of holding, taking a little shuffling, frightened, spills a couple things. He brings out his candle, he pulls out one of his many different necklaces and just starts screaming and stuff and using bardic inspiration to the closest person in the party that he can hear him within 60 feet. And honestly, he chooses Harold as this. I know I owe you, but you need to help people in the name of the spirits. He just panics. He can't.
Harold, you hear one of the windows on the front of the captain's room open, and then just start to hear Bartholomew's voice coming from within the ship, serving you these words of encouragement by offering a sort of neutral prayer to the spirits in general.
In the spirits in general, and because of that, it's going to be Tales from Beyond. So, while holding a spiritual focus, we're going to find out exactly which tale it is.
It's been a while since we've been here.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 12. Tale of the Mindbender. I invoke an incomprehensible fable. That makes sense.
You just start saying words.
The target must succeed on... So
it sounds like...
on an intelligence saving throw or take psychic damage equal to 3 rolls of your bardic inspiration.
So Spencer's character, Harold, gets a point of bardic inspiration. What die is your bardic inspiration die?
12.
D12?
At level 6?
That's what I got here.
Really? I thought it would be a D10. Okay. Egg on my face. And the dragon needs to make an intelligence save.
So intelligence save throw or take psychic damage equal to 3 rolls of bardic inspiration. And he's stunned until the end of his next turn.
21. You know, it's the Dragon of the Tomb Desert. What can I say? It's got good bonuses. I apologize.
He tried.
But you do get some important stuff out. So you get that spell outwards towards Spencer's character, towards Harold, and then you try to channel this incomprehensible story into the mind of the dragon, and you feel your mind connect to its, and it is a cacophony, it is a chorus of voices that respond, and you cannot target anyone in particular, and you are rebuffed. Okay. Up next in the initiative, Lemon.
Now that I'm reloaded, I'm gonna do something a little fun. I am going to use my familiar. I'm going to place him on my ballista.
So you conjure your familiar. What is it?
It is a seahorse in a bubble.
Yeah, totally. You throw your hand in the air, and this little bubble of water with a seahorse inside looks at you, and then gets put onto a ballista bolt, and looks at you with a look that says, "What are we doing?"
All right, buddy, you're gonna investigate it. You're gonna see if anything's on it, anything weird's going on it.
Like goes, and you just see bubbles up into the air. All right, roll to hit.
You got this.
The life of a familiar is horrifying and scary at all times.
It's rough. It's a rough go.
All right. Ooh. All right.
What does that mean?
There's a lot. And I get that 1d4 from blast.
Yeah, that's correct.
So
Carry the 13.
that is a 36.
What is happening over there? Yeah, I'm gonna trust your insano style math. Yeah, absolutely. You fire off another shot. This time, with the ship's momentum pulling downwards and the dragon diving towards the other ship now above you, you get a perfect view of the underside of this dragon. You can see exposed ribs and rotted flesh intermingled with patches that look hard and fresh and new. Like there are some parts of this dragon that look like they are completely alive and others that have rotted and gone. And you aim for the rotted and gone and manage to get a devastating shot, firing a bolt up between the ribs of this creature. As it does, this thick Icarus black-purple blood starts to pour out as it lets out another horrible scream, sort of filling the air with this discordant sound that goes through all of your heads. And you notice at its sort of peak, at its pinnacle, the crystals that keep the ship afloat just tremor, like the lights go flicker like light bulbs and then stabilize. And you get the sense this dragon can do some things you have to really hope it doesn't do. That counts for a hit and counts towards driving off the Dragon of the Tomb Desert, like punching a black bear in the face so that it just moves on to something easier to deal with than you. Lemon, anything else on your turn? That's your action.
I see the flicker and I look to Harold and with wild eyes. Get us out of here now.
Okay. We are moving. Beach, it's you. You are frightened of the Dragon of the Tomb Desert, so if you want to do something that involves an ability check or an attack roll, you just have to make sure you're not looking at it. Like, you have to close your eyes or look away. What's up, Stefan?
Oh, do they make saves at the end of their turn, too? Or is it just perpetual?
I do not remember off the top of my head how it works, and I do not have the note in front of me for mechanically how dragons work. I have my notes for how the Dragon of the Tomb Desert works. Does anybody know the answer to that question off the top of their heads?
It is at the end of each of your turns.
Great.
You make a check.
So definitely first order of business. Nicole, roll for the end of Beej's last turn. Roll a new wisdom saving throw. The DC remains 14. Okay, so you are
Is that
still
with the
frightened.
1d4? Or I guess that wouldn't make it, right?
That could not make it.
One short.
So at the beginning of this turn, it is your go. All you need to do is not look at the dragon while you do whatever it is that you're doing.
I mean, Beach is... He's a cool guy, but there's really not a lot Beach can do against a dragon. But what Beach can do is play a sick song. So he's just going to keep playing for this turn as well. That way no one else is frightened like him. He's not looking. He's got his eyes dead set, like on Lemon, just like, da, 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 da. Like just watching, just not looking at the dragon.
Lemon, you look over and see in the sky a dragon fighting a massive skyship. It's terrifying, but one of the coolest things you've ever seen. And then you look down just a little bit, and Beej is like this, just staring at you playing, trying so hard not to look up at what's going.
He's just
Like
putting all his faith in Lemon right now.
I
raining
give her a thumbs
sparks,
up.
raining sparks and spells launching into the air, and Beach is just petrified.
Beach is willing Lemon to kill this dragon. Willing.
Okay, that's great. So that does let me know that. Actually, an important note: Bartholomew, roll the save for the end of your turn with advantage. Do you get advantage from your own song, Nicole?
I do not.
Because if you
I
do,
don't
you need
think
advantage. What was the result of your roll, Bartholomew?
And
Can't shake it.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so roll again, and then roll for the end of this last turn. So you're about to make 3 rolls.
And remember the D4 from Bless.
Even God himself couldn't make you fail this.
does that count to me too, or just Beach?
There's only able to bless 3 of us.
Oh, plus 3. Okay,
Yeah. Only a level 1 slot for that.
Alas.
Okay, the first one was a 15, was the best. Well, it was the second one, and the first one I got a 9, so 15 for the last
Great,
round.
you save.
And
The
then
frightened passes as you stare at Lemon in the ballista. Comfort overtakes you, and you look back and up at this incredible sight. With that, it is the second ship. It is the ship of Edifice's turn. First things first, we're going to roll to see if their blink recharges. This is going to be pretty important vis-a-vis what they do right now. Blink does not recharge. You see this big, one of these large crystals on their ship. They have an extra one that you do not, that is less of a sort of bright color and a little bit more dull, and it is pulsing and not lighting up all the way. Something is not sort of catching up to the rest of the system. And so, our man in the crow's nest is going to get the help action from his familiar. And you all watch as, mounted up on top of the crow's nest, this fellow who you've seen a few times through long distances, those of you who are watching him, watch him whip a rope around the edge of the crow's nest, tie himself off, whip another rope over his shoulder so that he is stable, stands on the edge, and puts out this rifle as long as he is tall. And you can see that at the end of the barrel, a very small version of the crystals that keep the ships afloat is floating the edge of the barrel perfectly steady. As he fires, you see this light course down the barrel, and a huge light streaks across the sky towards the dragon and strikes into the side of its chest. The entire top of the ship leans as he fires, sort of kicked back somewhat by the preposterous scope of this rifle. That is pretty much all they can do. They're going to make a maneuver check, but their odds are not great. Yeah, they fail their maneuver check. They stay within medium distance of the dragon. Great. It is the Dragon of the Tomb Desert's turn. It is, in fact, going to use its breath weapon on the ship. I'm going to roll a Constitution save for a boat.
But notably, not ours.
Not
So
your
that's great
boat.
news.
Okay. They fail.
Well, you can only feel guilty about so much.
And I start,
You know?
for the first time in this combat, drawing numbers on my casualty chart. You watch the Dragon of the Tomb Desert whip across the side of the ship and let this noxious, deep green, smoky breath blast across its surface. You watch the metal is untouched, the crystal's untouched, but the wood of the ship begins to rot and wither like necrosis itself is aging it, the forces of entropy tearing away at what magical protections they have and beginning to strip them away from the hull of the ship. A few crew members begin to choke and fall to the ground. One of them goes over the edge of the ship and falls, trying to get away from the smoke and having nowhere to go. That is the dragon's turn. It stays. And And it has them on the ropes. The dragon it's going to make a maneuver check. DC on maneuver checks is always just a 15. It's nothing crazy. It's just, can you outmaneuver the other thing? And gets a natural 1. The dragon goes to swing around, and the ship manages to match pace, and the two of them just basically move in tandem and sort of swivel, rather than managing to overtake one another. Harold, it's your turn. You have just watched the combat with the dragon begin in earnest over on the other ship. What do you do? I just hit my elbow so hard.
Oh no!
Great.
Ow!
Harold has seen success in his efforts here and is going to double down seeing this happen. He sees that breath weapon just rip through this ship, and he does feel guilty. As much as he was trying to talk smack about not feeling guilty, he does. So he's going to whip the wheel again to continue that arc up, and he's going to try and slam the ship into the dragon.
Okay, so I will say, so this would not be the maneuver check for the ship, because this is on your turn. What do you think you're rolling, bud? Is it I could see you trying to make an attack roll with the ship as your weapon, or it is an athletics check if you think it's something closer to a grapple and further from a tackle.
Athletics, I've got a +6, so I think... No, it's not. I'm trying to knock it away. I'm not trying to, get it.
I offered
down.
the two options because they both made sense
Fair.
to me, so it's really up to you.
I think athletics +6. I gotta really crank that wheel to try and hammer through.
What is your strength score?
My strength is 17 +3.
Okay. The strength of the ship is a 26. So you're going to be rolling with a +8 strength instead of whatever yours is. So add your proficiency to a +8. Because the ship's strength is a 26.
All right. That is a 16 +11. 27.
27. And I will say, you managed to pull off this maneuver and swing the ship out and slam into the side of the dragon. Actually, clinching it between the two ships as its attention whirls back to yours, thinking that it has sort of neutralized one piece of prey and now ready to move on to another. You get the sense that you kind of barely pulled that maneuver off, and that this dragon's defenses are formidable. You all have just been rolling heat rocks as you manage to pull this off and pull away. The dragon will now shift from to your ship as this focus of its attention.
You can only do so much.
Hilver, you're up. What do you do?
All right. So, with the dragon pinned, can we touch it?
Do a touch spell?
So here's what I'll say. If we wait until the end of that action, the answer is no. But if you want to do something risky and while the ship is crashing into a dragon, reach your hand over the side, yes, you can. You will need to make a dexterity save to not fall over the edge of the ship. Not necessarily to your death, but down into whatever rigging goes off the side.
Oh, right.
Is that a risk you want to take?
Sure. Would that be an acrobatics check or something, or a dexterity saving throw?
No. So the dexterity save is going to come after your action, because the action happens first. You might succeed on the action and then fall to your death. That's your business. What's your action?
Yeah, I will, I guess, run up to it and try to strike it with an unarmed strike.
You punch the dragon?
Yeah.
Might as well.
I have to now think of a narrative way for this to be helpful.
All right.
Go ahead. I've got it. I'm ready if you succeed.
I got a 21 to hit.
21 does not hit the Dragon of the Tomb Desert.
Okay. Well,
in case you guys didn't notice so far,
I do get two
the
attacks.
hits to get it so far have been a 30, a 34, a 27, and on my end, a 29. Those are the numbers that have hit the Dragon of the Tomb Desert so far.
All right. Second attack definitely whiffs too. I'm not adding all that up.
Did you add your bless to the first one?
Try.
Yeah.
Okay.
I rolled a 3, but it wasn't high enough on the roll itself.
Oh, I thought you meant on the D20 you rolled a 3.
So
no.
is that the end of your action?
Let's see. I think bonus actions, I guess, might as well try to do a flurry of blows too.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, let her rip.
Hey, statistically, right? We got to get one in.
Oh man. I guess I might blow the heroic inspiration just to try to roll a decent roll.
Okay, we're going again. Inspiration as well.
And
Statistically, it's got to happen.
I mean, what's your plus to hit? Like an 8?
7, and then
So you need a 17 or higher.
yeah.
And with the
so,
bless.
no,
And with a bless.
that was only 18 to hit.
Unfortunately, you are just whipping down into the side of this dragon, trying to get its attention. You realize that its eye is peeking up towards the ship and see your opening. You sprint up and leap to jump, and it just closes the eye, and you hit its eyelid, and it feels like punching a wall. Dexterity saving throw as you realize that you have overextended and start to lean too much of your weight over the edge of the ship.
All right, so that's 19 dexterity.
With a
save?
19, you manage to catch yourself, grab the edge of the railing, and pull yourself back up and out. Your effort to punch the dragon in the eye was well-intentioned, but ultimately not successful. Alas.
It was an attempt, but it is very sturdy, everyone.
You can just imagine, like, you're like one of those cats who are just like trying to fling at you and just no damage.
So, because you are within medium range, I am going to say I need Lemon to roll a luck check to see if the ship's action is to reload the ballista again or to fire the cannons.
4.
With a 4, you're waiting for somebody to reload, knowing that you can hit it every time, and instead from down below you begin to hear voices call out as the ship begins to attend to other things, and all of a sudden, specifically I think only Hilver gets a good look at this, you watch the many doors to the cannons open on the side, and like 2 rows of parallel cannons push out, and you just hear as these all light and fire. This is actually a saving throw for the dragon.
Good luck. He's stuck between 2 ships. He's gonna get pelted.
That's a great point. I'm going to give him disadvantage, actually.
Let's go.
That maneuver puts you all in danger. Good thing you had disadvantage for the dragon. 17 and a 6. And the 6 still ends up quite high, but not high enough, as this volley of cannon fire rips into the side, one of them punching a large hole in its right wing, others sort of bruising and breaking exposed bones across the front of this terrible creature. That is the ship's turn. The captain is going to finally arrive above deck and look over at you manning the wheel and go, get off of the wheel, and takes over the captain's wheel to pull a maneuver. Looks around, realizes what the situation is, looks at you and goes, not bad, and is going to just whip the wheel the other way around. At first you think she is aiming to flee, and then you realize that she is basically pushing the whole ship down and around to get the ballista over to this side. She is not performing to run here, but instead to get the weapons closer. And she is going to roll to see if she can pull the maneuver off. She doesn't. The ship whips around the side, leans back into the center, and she is going to use that to give advantage to the next attack roll that is done to the enemy. So, we will see how that goes. I guess logically it will probably be Lemon anyways. That is the end of round 2. Absolutely wild that is all we are doing here so far.
We're feeling pretty good so far. So far. I do mean to say that, so we don't jinx us.
I know, we're doing good. We're rolling.
that's the
We're
guy
rolling.
Fell off the ship though.
Not my problem.
Listen, if the Dragon of the Tomb Desert attacks, people will not. Did I frame this? Did I do something wrong that I framed this adventure as something everyone would survive? Because if so, I have terrible news. For those of you watching who don't know, in the session 0, we were like, make backup characters.
Yeah.
So it's so funny to be like, One life lost. If this was an RPG, I know Stefan would have save scummed and been like, can I save the guy on the other boat? Like, if I passed that perception check earlier, would he have made it? We're back up at the top of initiative.
2 hours.
2 hours later. Bartholomew, you are up. You are currently, you've just sort of offered some words of inspiration. The captain has taken the helm. Your fear has subsided, right? You succeeded at the end of last round. I suppose the sort of deeper anxiety over the dragon attack probably still remains, but you are no longer magically afeared of this beast. What do you do?
At this point, so Bartholomew actually he starts kind of crawling over, running, stumbles, somehow trips over a barrel on the way, trying to get to Harold, and as he does, touches him on the wrist, using some guidance.
Okay.
He said, we have to get him out of here. We have to find a way to save ourselves. We're not gonna make it. Do something.
What? The captain, what? Just sort of off from the side.
And Bartholomew looks at him and just screams again, trying to go run away.
Do me a
He's
favor.
gonna try to go and hide.
Just for fun, roll me a
Second.
d20 to see what god symbol you accidentally pull out of your bag to give guidance.
So,
Just roll a d20 and tell me what the number is.
7.
Spencer, not Spencer, obviously. Spencer's not there. Harold,
Guys, something crazy is happening. There's a dragon.
a hand clasps around the sort of bracer of your armor, and you feel this surge of magical energy, and you begin to smell the deep sense of ancient pine forests and thick fur, and you feel the presence of Revental, the god of vengeance and the hunt, fill your mind as you sort of accidentally are offered a prayer to one of these random deities that Bartholomew prays to. So you do that. That is your action, Bartholomew. What do you do with the rest of your turn? Do you dive back below deck? Where are you headed?
So, in that case, yeah. So he's gonna use a little cunning action to hide. He's gonna try to stay up, kind of survey, but also kind of hide in a VB into a barrel.
Yeah, I was about to say, you look around trying to find somewhere to hide and look at that barrel that you just tripped over and leap into it, and it sort of sits up straight with your feet sticking out of the bottom like Sly Cooper as you sort of hide in one of the various corners of the ship. Fantastic. All right, Lemon, you are up. The crossbow has not been, the ballista, has not been loaded, but you do have advantage if you can manage to attack with it. It's just a question of how do you want to do that? Do you want to hold your action? Do you want to hold your, do you want to prepare a reaction, or do you just want to do something different?
I'm gonna be trying to do some bullshit here, so bear with me for a second.
Oh, yes, and very importantly, obviously the thing that is going to solve this encounter, your seahorse is flying next to the Dragon of the Tomb Desert with a look on its face that only Harold can see, and that look is, what am I doing over here? What happened?
I told him what I was doing. It's investigating a little bit.
Great.
See if there's any weird runes on it. If there's just getting a lay of the land on it.
So
A
then-
big off button on its back.
So
maybe.
then, first things first, I don't know your familiar stats, so roll an investigation check for your seahorse.
You don't
I
have
have
a
no.
stat block?
No, sadly I don't.
What kind of animal? Everybody, sound off real quick. What kind of animal do you think a seahorse translates into of the familiars? Do you think it's like a bat? Do you think it's like a crow?
Well, first of all, it's equine, so probably more like a horse.
Do you want me? I can use the horse stats. Let's see. What does a horse get? That's the real
They're
question.
very wise, I think.
What does a rising?
Personally.
Well,
Sounds
that's
like an elephant.
well, that's fine because investigation's not a wisdom skill.
They're intelligent as well.
Great, Michael.
Keen of
roll
mind.
roll an investigation check with a -4.
With the mines were awesome.
Horses have an intelligence of 2, which is kind of disrespectful to horses.
Wow.
They can learn commands.
That was a -1.
Yeah, let's go.
The seahorse looks down at the dragon and headbutts it.
Cool.
And you're like, All right. The thing I learned, it's not weak to seahorse damage, and you
Yeah.
move on, I
You know,
suppose.
I psychically tell it, all right, keep on looking, buddy.
I feel kindred with the seahorse for uselessly flailing on it too.
You hear a distant neigh whinny from the seahorse. Yeah, all right, so that is your up, Lemon. What do you do?
A question about the crystals and stuff that's keeping the ship afloat.
Yes.
That's on the bottom of the ship.
Two of them are off either side.
Okay, so it's two large crystals, not like outcroppings of crystals and stuff like that.
No, you notice that your ship has two big crystals mounted on either side, and that the ship from Edifice has them sort of built into the foundations all across its surface and bottom and exterior. Again, the definitive impression is that you are in a sailing ship that has been made into a sky ship.
Okay. I want to break off a chunk of crystal.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And for what to what end?
I want to affix it to a ballista.
To a bolt?
Yes, to a bolt.
Okay. You sprint across the distance and run up to one of these large crystals that keeps the ship afloat. You need to make a roll now to mess with the flight system of the ship. And Michael,
Yeah.
you better roll good. Here's what I'm going to give you your tiers right now.
Mhm.
If you roll a 5 or lower, this goes so bad so fast. If you roll a 5 to 10, you just fail. If you roll a 10 to 15, something will happen. If you roll a 15 plus, something will happen and it'll definitely be good. What are you rolling, brother? What could it be?
I was thinking like a sleight of hand dex, sort of.
Great, sleight of hand to find the least important bit of arcane flying crystal.
Yeah.
This is like if we all broke into some government building and we're just looking at one of those giant computer stacks and we're like, what do I pull out of this?
I rolled good.
Okay.
I 19 plus 4. Or sorry, 19 plus 5. So 24.
With the 19 plus 5, 24, you run up, reach out, snatch a piece of the crystal that was like cracked already from that flickering before off. You see the flickering stops. And you look over and Malcolm White, the mage who was using the spell earlier to fix the crystals, looks at you do that and goes, and gives you the international symbol for, well, I guess it worked. And you turn and run back to the ballista with this crystal in hand.
So I just want to fix it. I know I can't shoot in this round, but I'm trying to fix it and yelling to one of the powder monkeys, "Get this thing reloaded!"
You run up and attach the crystal to the front and like lash it. We'll call that a bonus action object interaction. You attach it firmly enough that it isn't going to fly off and yell out for somebody to load as you jump back into the seat. Absolutely. Big turn from Lemon. That was hilarious. All right, Beej, what are you up to?
All right. Now that Beej is a little closer, maybe a little too close, but what are you going to do? I think Beej is going to try to cast Shatter.
Nice. Yeah, you guys are stuck very close to this thing.
I mean, he sees his opportunity, he's going to take it. And that means that the dragon has to make a con save of 14.
Okay. Con save of 14. It is still a wedged bear in a great tightness, so I'm going to give it disadvantage on this saving throw because its turn is just about to come up. And until it does, it doesn't have the chance to reconnoiter. It needs to roll apocalyptically bad for it to fail this.
That one.
Everything else is every spell I have is like somewhat the dragon has to roll.
I'm rolling 2d20, and I'm going to tell you right now, it needs to roll a 4, 3, 2, or 1. I rolled a 4. I rolled a 17 and a 4. Somehow, through some grand fluke of divine luck in this moment, the shatter goes through. What does a little bit of shatter magic from Beej the Bard look like?
I'm gonna say, I think I kind of want it to come from like Beej, like literally screams. I think I want him to just scream.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, I think that's what he does. He's kind of badass like that.
Beej runs up to the side, and a bunch of people, seeing a bard sprint, begin to like cover their ears, expecting you to like strum your instrument hard. And instead, Beej just lets out like a full banshee, like yeah, like this scream that fills the space, and it begins to resonate somewhere in the chest of the dragon, which then explodes with force, putting another point in the driving off the dragon column. You don't need to roll damage if you do not want to, because I'm counting attacks that succeed as the important sort of driving factor here. Nobody wants me to keep track of the like 400 HP
really.
that a great ancient
thanks.
dragon would have.
No, thanks though.
No, that's actually okay. Maybe if we had the group from Icewind Dale, or maybe from Theros, I'd be like, well, maybe I've seen them do some silly stuff. All right, next up, it is the other ship's turn. First things first.
Percy would eat this dragon for lunch. I just want to let you
Percy
know.
would crunch this dragon. We're gonna roll to see if they get their blink back. Still no blink. That sucks. For them, not for you guys. For you guys, it's awesome. Okay. They are going to forego their attack to gain advantage on their maneuver. So they do not attack, they just try to get away from the dragon. They are in a terrible position and have already taken one round of losses. Thank goodness, a success. Not by much, they are rolling very poorly. The ship pulls away very quickly just as the shatter hits. And so as the dragon reaches out with a taloned hand to grab onto the ship, it hits nothing but air as it is disrupted by the shatter, and the other ship moves from medium distance back to long distance, where they have the advantage. That's their whole turn. It is the Dragon of the Tomb Desert's turn. First things first, we roll a d6, see if it gets its breath weapon back. It gets its breath weapon back and whips up and down around towards your ship to let out a huge screen of that same choking smog across the body of the ship. I need everybody to roll Constitution saving throws, and the ship will roll one as well.
Is anybody within 10 feet of me?
You're up in the thing still, right?
Yeah, I was up by the the captain's got a plus 3 to the save.
Okay, that
25.
matters. Are you sure they do?
Yeah, because they're within 10 feet of me.
Okay, that actually mattered a
And
lot.
remember the blessed save for Lemon and Beige.
For the record, the captain only rolled a 7, so that 3 is actually incredibly clutch.
Nice.
The captain rolls for the ship.
Gotcha.
Can I use a luck point?
Do you have luck?
I have lucky.
You're
I have
lucky?
Yeah, you can use a luck point.
I of course Bartholomew's lucky. Okay.
I rolled.
I meant to last round. Michael, do you have an inspiration floating around?
No, I do not.
Take an inspiration for ripping a piece off of a magical flying crystal to make a super ballista to attack a dragon in the middle of a desert. Duh.
Cool.
If that's not good roleplay, what is? Who was talking?
I rolled a 21.
Great. DC on the save is a 14.
Oh,
Wait,
good.
no, a 14 succeeds. Tie goes to the runner. The DC is 14. Who hits that? Who doesn't?
Got it.
25.
Everyone succeeded.
Hey, let's go! And the captain. That's awesome.
Okay, so
The bless
mechanically,
saved me.
we are just doing poison basically for you all, so it would be that disadvantage on like everything was the real threat here. I will say each of you are harmed by this, but not in a way you need to take down on your health in any way. A couple of you get bloody noses or a little bit of like a terrible rash on the skin that this stuff touches. Nothing that feels good, but nothing that we need to like overly noodly keep track of. And thankfully the ship does succeed. And so you notice that this ship actually fares much better than the other one in response to this breath attack. As it begins to billow out, the captain whips the wheel to the side, and you suddenly realize why everybody was tying themselves to the deck of the ship, as you all need to grab furniture as the entire ship goes basically sideways, and that smoke blasts across the bottom of the hull. You do see a couple of people who are choking heavily do fall. There are a few casualties in response to this, even with a success. This is a dangerous situation, and people will be grateful to only lose a few friends after a day like this. All right, that is the Dragon of the Tomb Desert's turn. It is going to try to move into close range with you, DC 15. Its maneuver roll's not that great, as I'm sure you've gathered by now. It's too busy dealing out breath weapons, but it does succeed. You are all now in close range. The dragon is now affixed. One claw gripped around the mast, the other across the side. It is lifting with its wings, trying to knock the ship off course.
Harold has a spell of vengeance and the hunt cast upon him. He has gotten the captainship revoked from him on the ship, and he sees the dragon get close. He pulls his sword and runs directly for the head of the dragon. He's probably going to jump off the bow of the ship to get up on this thing and swing. He is super powered at this point. Right. He got a lot of boons.
All right. So the rule for this is very simple. It'll be the exact same way that it was for Hilver, right? You can make attacks direct. You need to make a dexterity save at the end of your turn to try to not begin falling. You're not going to instantly fall 500 feet and die from Bax damage. But it will get dangerous.
That is a 30 to hit.
With a 30, all I need you to narrate for me, how does your normal-sized adventurer, well, not really, you're like 6'4", how does Harold do something that does knock this dragon off balance? What about your attack does that? With Hilver, I had imagined him punching it right in the eyeball. What do you visualize for your own character as you leap off of the bow of the ship?
I mean, Harold watched Hilver make that move, and I think that he took inspiration from it and is going to go for the eye as well, hoping that even if it does close, the sword can jam through. I do a max spell slot Divine Smite.
Okay, so you're going to burn sort of an additional asset on making this work.
Yeah, try and blind him a bit in the eyeball, and I swing down, stabbing in, and I'm probably hanging on to the blade. I might try and swing up afterwards. I'm up on this thing right now, so a deck save. So
the question is, are you jumping back to the ship or not? It's the deck save is to not fall.
No, I'm staying on this thing.
Okay, then I will just say that you are in an incredible amount of potentially lethal danger, and you should get off it as soon as you can. How's that?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it away from the ship.
Another point in the drive the dragon away column is you leap. You all watch Harold leap, longsword overhead, bury it, hilt deep in the huge eyeball of this dragon. You are now forearms covered in eye slime as you are gripped and trying not to fall as the dragon yells. Renault, Captain Gust, totally misreads what you're doing and yells, "Harold, no!" thinking that you are killing yourself to distract the dragon. Because that is the only sort of reasonable response she could have. Great. That is your absolutely Insano-style turn. I'm going to be candid. If the ships move position on their turns again, the amount of danger you are in is going to go up astronomically.
It's all good. What happens here.
Okay, great. All right, that is Hilver's turn. That is Hilver's turn.
Oh, sorry. Still getting used to my name. All right, I'm going over.
And I will say, you do see the dragon is bearing terrible wounds now. It has been peppered with these bolts. It has been attacked and now partially blinded. It is ragged. You all get the sense that you know that this is one of the things that this ship was hired for. The Storm's Call is currently definitely sort of going the extra mile. They're going to get a great review for their 6-month bonus. Go ahead, Hilver.
I'm going for one of those claws that's grappling it and trying to hit it right in the joint.
Absolutely.
And does a 22 hit?
The 22 does not hit.
All right.
I did cue up how hard it is to punch the dragon in the face, right?
Yeah. All right. Second one.
Spencer's being empowered by a Christmas cosmic brownie.
Nice.
Whoa. And I forgot also the flurry of blows is 2 attacks, so I will roll twice more.
I believe. It's bound to happen.
Oh man, getting really low rolls, like below the 10s for most of these.
Oh, nice.
All right, yeah, all of those are just
No.
Misses too, just trying to wedge this thing, and it's just the claw is just so gripped in. I'm hitting it. I'm
I will say,
gosh.
bear in mind as we keep going, because we do have another round or two left, I think, going off of what's happened so far. There are more things to do than hurt the dragon, right? You can be reloading the ballista, you can be attending to the injured, you can be trying to prevent future deaths, you can be trying to draw the fire of the dragon without worrying about hurting it, right? There's a lot of other things that we can be. It doesn't need to just be pummel, pummel, pummel. Now let me say, if that's what you want to do, if we're going with the classic D&D, I don't need to heal if it's dead. That's fine by me. I just want to cue this up before the crash bar, which is one of the things I'm tracking, gets much more full than it is right now.
Yeah.
All right.
I was hoping to at least land a strike to do a stunning strike, just because, I guess in the new rules, even if they fail this stunning strike, it gives them, whatchamacallit, halves their movement speed no wait.
Well,
yeah,
we'll...
on a successful save, the target still gets half movement speed and next attack rolls advantage. So I was trying to get that.
Yeah, and if it failed, it would plummet from the sky. Definitely helpful. Yeah. All right, with that, it is the ship's turn. At the personal request of Lemon, the ship's action is used to reload the ballista. The two of them pick up the bolt, and you see that only one of them needs to pick it up, as it is incredibly light. And they load it in, and that arm grabs it and loads the ballista. The captain looks over the bow of the ship and makes eye contact with Harold. It's their time to make a maneuver check. What signal do they get from Harold?
This is the captain of the other ship?
Of your ship.
Oh, our ship?
Looks over the side at you with an expression of, do you want me to pull away? Do you want me to pull closer?
Harold gestures and he says, "Pull away! Pull away!"
You, a look of deep and profound kindness, and also preparedness to sort of already jotting the notes about your funeral, sort of in the margins of her mind.
We'll pay for this one.
The captain will acquiesce your request.
Oh, so you hate Harold, Spencer?
And rolls.
Yeah, I'm ready for a new one. It's been a while.
Rolls a 2. They go to re-maneuver and pull out of the grasp of this dragon, and it just lets out 2 tremendous beats of its wings, and the 2 are stuck in stalemate and do not move at all. It is the caravan's turn.
So we do not move, is what you're saying?
No, you do not. You stay
Okay.
in close range.
Okay.
You will have disadvantage on your attack, which will balance out because you have advantage, so it'll land in the middle if you can strike it with the ballista all the same. Okay, it is the caravan's turn. You see that small, strange old man on his jalopy finally gets the full movement forward he wanted to get, gets out, runs around, and throws a tarp off of the flatbed on the back, and you see that there is what I can only describe as a cannon. Not magical, not technology, not fantasy of any kind. A normal cannon is mounted on the back of this Model T.
Nice.
He grabs it, pivots it over, puts in a powder charge, puts in a ball, stuffs it, and is going to attack. And that will be the caravan's action this round.
What more could you ask for, you know?
With a 19, it goes wide.
Oh.
He goes, damn it! Sort of leering up from below. He did his best and had no real opportunity. He rolled terrible, for the record. That is a pretty formidable little cannon he has. So sad. That is the end of the third round. We are back up at the top. Bartholomew, you're hiding in a barrel. What do you do?
Tough, given that. All right. So
What's our cutoff time, guys? Like 10:30, 11:30? What do you think?
I mean, like 10:30.
is it like-
genuine question?
Yeah, so is it like 9:30, 10, or 10:30? Because I need to pace here.
I think anywhere between 10 and 10:30 is fine.
Is that cool with
I was gonna, like,
everybody?
yeah, maybe.
I was thinking like 10.
10, cool.
Okay, that's great. I was afraid you were all going to say 9:30 in
9, 10.
at the same time, and I was going to be like, okay, the next two rounds
Oh,
are going to
I
be quick.
So I'm taking Lemon as manning the ballista right now.
Yes, Lemon is manning the ballista and has been the whole time.
Yep. So Bartholomew, kind of like little Scooby-Doo, just peeks out over, and it's just like, "Psst, you can hear me, you," and just so he's gonna cast a little bit of what was it? Just a little bardic inspiration to him,
Great.
Oh, cool.
and then on top of that, he's not gonna send this, but he's gonna start preparing another tale.
Okay, so you start to
Yeah.
work up one of these stories in your mind that sort of filter through this and all things.
It's gonna be a 2.
Great.
All right, that's
Huge. Listen, taking the support role seriously. Bartholomew
Yeah.
dishing out all of these additional support things, whipping them around the ship, along with specifically the pair of Bartholomew and Beige has everybody rolling advantage and plus D4s and all this extra stuff. So you guys are making a strong foundation there. Lemon, you're up. You have your crazy crossbow, and you can issue a command to your familiar. What are you doing?
Yeah. Oh, my familiar. What you got, little buddy?
All right, make another -4 investigation check.
Oh, that's better. That's a 15 minus 4, so an 11.
With an 11, you get a message back in your mind, said with perfect sincerity. I'm like 90% sure it's a dragon. Like 90. Fills your mind as this familiar tries so hard to figure out what's going on over there.
Good job, little buddy.
So you're now almost positive that the dragon of the Tomb Desert is a dragon. Congratulations.
All right. I'm gonna have it make its way over towards Harold next.
Harold, all of a sudden, a little seahorse just starts floating in front of your face.
Oh, hey!
It goes and bubbles.
It'll help out next turn.
So good.
And so I'm going to.
Yeah.
So it's been reloaded. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm shooting.
So it's an attack roll. You do have disadvantage because you are within close range and you're trying to use a siege weapon. So
Yes.
hope for the best.
But you're saying, but I also had advantage with something.
Oh yeah, that's correct. That advantage is still riding because of the sort of aid that the captain gave with the maneuver roll. So yes, so it would cancel. This is a flat roll.
Cool.
Good memory.
Thank you. All right, so that is a 16. I had so many bonuses going right
Add
now.
them all. Add them all.
The 15. And what's the not inspiration? Bardic.
Yeah. What is that
Mhm.
bardic die?
I did look it up, and at this level, it's a D8. The D12 is just for your tails. list.
yeah. D12 is just for tails.
Yes, it's a D8 for your
So it's a
actual
D8.
inspiration.
All right, that's so awesome. That's a 38.
Great. Thank goodness. At least you're north of those numbers. That's awesome. The AC is high, so we got to count all these extra numbers here.
Oh, sure. I'm trying to aim for like under the wing. I'm trying to make it off balance with this upward thrust.
It's like a buoy. You're trying to. Yeah, I got you. It's like attaching a weather balloon to it. Yeah. So, you definitely hit with the attack. So I'll make a note in the sort of driving off the dragon column here in front of me. A larger question so what check do you think? You got to roll a check. You're basically trying to do a free maneuver to knock the dragon off course. Is it luck? Is it Arcana? Like what do we think it is? I'm really not sure. Maybe I roll a saving throw against something. I really can't quite decide.
Could be a saving throw. It's a weird one.
Personally, I don't vote saving throw. This thing's crazy.
Like athletics for trying to put where I want it.
Oh, there you go. You know what? We'll do the crystal is a part of the ship. We will do the ship's athletics versus the dragon's athletics. I think that's the best way forward. Cool. We will assume that they are both proficient. What is your guys' proficiency bonus at this level? A +3?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, who would like to roll for the ship? You have a +9. No, wait. 26. So 5, 6, 7, 8. You have a 8 +3, 9, 10. Oh, a +11. The dragon has a +10, so you do have a slight advantage on the dragon. Who wants to roll that? It seems like it should be Michael, but I wanted to open the floor in case Michael didn't want to roll it.
I'll roll it if
All right.
it was okay.
Go for it.
That is 19 + 11.
I rolled a 17 +10, so that was close.
Wow.
That is a 27 versus a 30. You watch this dragon try to flap that wing, and it can't get the shoulder extended enough, and it starts to lift, and basically you get one free maneuver as it starts to go up, and Harold goes with it. Harold, you are now at medium distance, Mary Poppins style, from the ship, which is now far below you and off to your right. If you jumped, it would not be a lethal distance, but it would not feel good to jump. That is what I will say. All right, that's Lemon's.
I just want to bonus action cast jump on myself.
Huge, great, yeah, totally. I have to admit, Harold just starts shaking his head. No, you watch.
This is a bad idea.
You watch him start to
Don't
cast
do
jump,
this.
and you're like, "This is not whatever you're thinking." I'm not sure about it. All right, so that one for the maneuver will move you further off of crashing, and hitting it will move you closer to driving it off. Great sort of mixed maneuver there. Awesome. Okay, that is Lemon's turn. Beej. Go for Beej.
Okay. Interesting. Beej watches Lemon do this wonderful, hit, and it's like very heroic.
You just watch Harold.
It's like, okay, yeah, he's there. Okay, yeah, Lemon's there. Right. And I think Beej will reach out to cast a spell against the dragon and be like, you know what? Actually, no, this guy just shot a missile, it's fine. And then Beej is gonna look and start healing people, I think. Because he's trying his best.
No, this is all great. We have things on my end, and all of this is important. As you start to run around and attend to the wounded, make a spellcasting ability check. So basically, your charisma plus your proficiency, because you are a bard. Beej starts to do a whole Disney princess song, healing people while making their way down the edge of the ship.
22.
22, resounding success. Okay, awesome. Really solid. You guys are doing a very good job covering all your bases each round. So I haven't had as many chances to do what I thought this fight was going to be, which was me constantly getting to tick the bad trackers that you ignored. You guys have done a pretty good job of sort of bridging out.
As Beej first goes to cast like a big damaging spell, Harold's eyes, you wouldn't be able to see him, Beej. His eyes open real wide. He's like, no, no!
Yeah, Beej is taking in all the information right now, and he gets a little defeated by the missile, and he's like, okay, like I'm about to like punch this dragon, like what's the point? Like,
All right. With that, awesome. It is ship number 2's turn. It continues to fail to get its blink back. It gets that on a 5 or 6 on a d6, and it was 1, 1, 4, 2. What are we doing, guys? Okay. What is it gonna do? What's it gonna do? I think it's time for them to pull their weight. Whipping the ship around, you watch a large sort of volley of spells streak off of the deck. Half of them arcane, the other half like artificer's work. Things that are shot from cannons and guns, like pins pulled on the sort of grenade equivalents that burst out with spells and powerful magical effects. They are going to take their turn attacking the dragon. Again, their odds of hitting aren't great, but miracles do happen. It was 19, 3. These spells streak off of its carapace. One of the grenades does land perfectly, but it lands right in front of Harold, and you bat it off the head, and it falls off the side, going off harmlessly. You hear, what the hell, from one of the artificers that threw it. You're like, what do you mean?
What the hell, you?
They're going to try to move into long distance. They do not want to get hit again, so they're going to make a maneuver check. 17 plus bonuses. They go to long distance. So it's the Dragon of the Tomb Desert's turn. And someone's on it.
Yeah!
I need you to roll a stealth check with disadvantage against its passive perception.
And it's already a disadvantage. I'm wearing huge-ass armor.
That's why I said you have disadvantage. I just remembered that you have plate mail on.
Well,
A 12. It's going to try to shake you loose. Make an athletics check against a dragon. Wow, I rolled terrible.
22.
17.
Let's go!
The dragon starts to like bank and weave and barrel rolls, and you are tell me how you react as you manage to keep grip the whole time.
Harold like twists the blade up and in, so it's kind of hooked into the eyebrow bone a bit.
Yeah.
And kicks his legs up against the neck of the dragon just to get full leverage. So it's spinning and twisting around, and he's totally locked in.
Braced. You are maybe one of the first people in Prospect to feel 2 Gs of force. Like, as you do this spin, your skin starts to like off the sides. As you do manage to hold on, you were going to be on the business end of 8d6 falling damage if you had failed, which would have been pretty rowdy. That is its action to try to knock you loose, and so I guess in that you did keep it from attacking the ship this round. Maneuver
That's a win.
check. It is going to try to get close to the ship again, something that perhaps you are very grateful for. It does succeed. The Dragon of the Tomb Desert swings down towards the ship, having failed to shake you off, and you are terrified of what is happening and grateful that you are so close to the ship again. As the captain sees you still holding on, pure bewilderment on her face. Off to the side, Calroy, the sort of infamously dexterous fix-it person, is attending to that broken part of the crystal and is also slowing down and looking over at you up in the sky as everybody's attention is slowly drifting towards the person making super darts, the person singing music at full volume on the ship to heal people, and the guy wrestling a dragon, and that barrel that keeps yelling prayers, and the monk that won't stop punching a dragon in the face and body.
Yeah.
You guys are making a strong impression on the crew. All right, Harold, what are you doing?
I mean, at this point, Harold had a plan that's not even necessary anymore. We're close. I think that Harold is going to leap off of the dragon and is going to start throwing... I assume there's lots of hempen rope tied up around here. He's going to launch them, tie them off, and launch them over the edge of the ship to see if any of them can reach down to the sand. So if any caravanners need to get up here, if the dragon changes its mind,
So in that
they'll
case,
be able to climb.
we need to start with your dexterity saving throw to get back on the ship. DC's
Yep.
15, so it's not too hard.
It is a 15.
A 15, you barely manage. You scramble over the side of the deck, managing to get back up on. And running across the distance, seeing a few stragglers, you start to knock the rope ladders over the edges of the ship, leaving them to streak through the sand, giving people at least some opportunity to grab on and hold on for dear life if they are down in the most dangerous place they could be. Quickly, you start to see a couple of people grabbing on and starting to climb that were left behind. These are the people who couldn't buy their way onto a wagon or afford a horse and were quickly left behind by the caravan. Okay, that is Hilver's turn. Hilver.
All right. So it's far away from us, right?
No,
once
it is
I got-
close range with the ship.
All
It
right.
flew back in.
So I guess I might try all the blows again.
Let's go!
Yeah,
It's
just to-
statistically, it's got to happen.
yeah. I mean, if I can roll above a 13, maybe.
I believe.
All right.
Everybody, pray.
Nope.
Like and subscribe for prayers.
Finally. Oh yes, and I forgot the plus.
Got it. Come on.
27.
27 hits. You connect.
Let's go.
What are you going for to damage this dragon? One of its wings is being pulled upwards by this strange bolt. One of its eyes has been run through with a sword and is now milky and blind, although beginning to sort of stitch at the edges and heal up. What do you do?
All right. I guess I guess I'll take the staff of flowers that I have, and I do kind of leap up into the air a little bit and do a swing down and strike it.
Absolutely.
As I knock at one of its claws that's kind of like looming towards the thing.
That was my question, is how do you affect this sort of titanic creature? This strike comes in the form of you noticing a moment as its claw lifts up and only basically its thumb is hooked around the back. You sprint across the distance, leap and strike into the base of that thumb with your staff, and it is just hard enough at just the right angle that you knock it off and it disconnects from the ship, moving from short to medium distance just in time for Harold to leap back onto the ship, the two of you sort of crossing paths. Make a dexterity saving throw.
All right, and it's got to do I'm focusing on the stunning strike for that too, so it's got to do a
sure.
DC 16 con save.
Okay. It needs to roll a 6 or better. 7 or better? It has a plus 10. So 6 or better. 18, 28. This dragon will not be stunned this day.
Yeah. All right, so its speed is halved until the start of my next turn.
If people in the
and
future
next attack
notice
roll-
that I just accidentally flipped its strength and its con, I got to be honest, I can't. I have them in my notes and I can't remember which number is which. They're in order, but I got a little fuzzy there for a minute. What are you up? So, go ahead.
So at least from the stunning focus, it still halves the speed of the creature, and it's the next attack roll made against it has advantage.
Yeah, so then it does exactly as I described. It disturbs its maneuver and it goes from close to medium distance as the ship quickly pulls ahead.
And I got a 26 on the saving throw.
A 26 on the saving throw, absolutely no problem at all. All right, with that, it is the ship's turn. Trying to think of priorities here. They're already at medium distance. Being at long distance gives them the best advantage, but her odds of succeeding are very good. The captain calls out, "So, are we focusing on the dragon or focusing on the people on the ground?" As she sees the team sort of splitting in two directions. What does the team call back as she poses the question? She has to either attack or try to move the ship so that the ladders go by people who need help. Which of those two things do we want the group to do? We're just gonna vote Everybody get ready to raise your hands, ponder the question, right? Everybody who wants the captain to attack the dragon in some way, raise your hand. And everybody who wants to save members of the caravan, raise your hand. Okay, we had a couple of abstentions. Good to know.
Fly away!
Yeah, I'm flying away. Fly, you fools!
Okay, fails the maneuver roll, but succeeds at helping people. The ship slows down to do this and starts to drag those ladders through the sand. You begin to watch many people. Thankfully, these ladders are made to hold a lot of weight. Some crew members start to throw other ropes over the side for the more physically fit people that are running down below who can just grab onto a rope and be okay. And you begin to watch quickly as people scramble onto the ladders. Those that can start to climb up the ropes, grabbing friends who can't, and like swinging the rope around themselves so that they probably don't fall, and the ship starts to take back up off the ground. Really focused on reducing casualties this round. We are we are really pushing the priorities here. It is the caravan's turn. The wily old man begins to reload his cannon as the rest of the caravan starts to move around. I will say, inspired by the heroism of the ship, some of the people with horses and wagons and the like turn around to circle back for stragglers.
Nice.
They're going to roll a dex check as a caravan. Wow. Oh my goodness. They rolled incredible.
Ooh.
With that, I think they rolled so well. You watch as one of the dead bodies from earlier from one of the ships gets scooped up, and somebody takes out a diamond and revives them. They revivify. The casualty counter goes down by one for the first time ever, and somebody like, I am alive, and they keep moving, heading off towards another area. That is the end.
I
want to
follow those two in the tombs later on. I want to see what they get up to.
What are they doing? It is the 5th round. You guys have done really well so far. The dragon is on its last legs of being able to maintain this fight. I will be candid. If this round goes well, we might be out of the dragon fight. If it goes poorly, well, you know what happens then. All right? Great. I think we're doing really strong, though, here. The numbers are there. We're going to start back up at the top of initiative. Bartholomew, you can feel the battle shifting. You learned this legend is real, and now you're learning that a ragtag pirate crew can kick a legend's ass. This dragon has been battered, assaulted, and attacked. What do you do?
Just because he starts to get a little bit of ounce of hope, he casts Vicious Mockery toward the dragon. He comes out, he pokes out of this barrel, and now starts walking around with it and casts Vicious Mockery.
Is that wisdom or a charisma saving throw?
So that's going to be wisdom.
Wisdom, okay. Its charisma is terrible, unsurprisingly, but its wisdom is okay. What's the DC on this?
16.
16, okay. Wisdom's not as good. Math, numbers. 8 plus 7?
8 plus 7?
15? 15 fails.
Nice.
What do you say to the dragon?
Oh god, what do I say? Okay, so as he's casting to this, just like, obviously picking which of the he's fumbling through. So is that correct? Is it Zorfental?
Zorvental.
So you know what the legends say of you being in the shadow of the desert, but you're the bastard of Zorfental. I would. You're an absolute disgrace to a bunch of bumbling fools. You're dead to me. And
go.
just you can't.
You call upon the
No,
name
we're
of
gonna
Zorvental, the draconic god of competition, to spit spiteful words across the gap and watch the dragon's head begin to bend and sort of leer, these words sinking deep into its mind. And I think it has disadvantage on its next attack roll, right? That's not half bad to do against a dragon.
Oh, it's disadvantage, and then cunning action, and he goes and hides.
Gets back in the barrel. Love it. Absolutely. Huge, huge, huge. This barrel is stained and pitted with necrotic breath that did not get inside as you pick up a lid and clunk, close the barrel over the top of your head. Absolutely hilarious. All right, Bartholomew. Lemon, you're up.
So I am going to have my seahorse give the help action to Harold.
The seahorse looks at you with stern but fair expression on its face and goes "Bleh," and blows bubbles in your face, and you feel inspired.
Thank you.
And a bolt hasn't been readied, so I can't shoot that. I'm running over. How is Dragon still affixed to our ship?
No, it has moved to medium distance given the successes of last round, so it is no longer connected to the ship directly.
I will say Harold is next to you right now. He has jumped off the dragon. So Harold is going towards the bolts to load up on this next section.
So basically,
if you hold your action,
Okay.
you'll be able to launch one.
I thought that you were still on the dragon.
I had just leapt off before Hilbert.
Okay.
Gotcha. My bad.
So, do you want to go through with that, or did you have another idea?
That changes my my stuff then. I'm going to I'm gonna have my seahorse get off and get on or disappear, reappear to me, and give me the help action then.
Okay, so the bubbles disappear from around you as you communicate that, because you don't need help picking up a heavy thing and putting it on another thing. And instead, it sort of inspires Lemon himself. Lemon, you feel words of encouragement coming off of this seahorse scion of Glint, the protector of the wake.
Yep. And I'll just ready my action.
Yes, so you prepare to use your reaction to use the action attack, because Dungeons and Dragons is a complicated game. And with that, 'tis Beej. Go for Beej.
Yay! Beej is gonna do a quick little starry wisp. It's gonna take us hot break from healing. I think he's done what he can, and after, because he's confident, we'll get out of this situation, and after the fact he'll heal some more people. So yeah, Beach is gonna hit him with a starry wisp, but I think Beach does a little Homelander situation. I feel like Beach does this from his eyes, and
Okay.
I just that's what I mean by Homelander.
There were so many things you could have meant, and so many of them sucked, and it was one of the only ones that I'm fine with. Yeah, absolutely. You shoot laser beams out of your eyes for sure, Beach.
Also like Superman.
No.
No, these aren't like pseudo-friendly red beams that somehow don't hurt anything else. These burn in the side of the ship as they trace up.
Beach has, this is something that maybe nobody knows at this point, but Beach has gold eyes. That's the color of his eyes. They're like a goldy color. So that I feel like is the same color that comes out of his eyes for this.
Absolutely. Yeah, you blast out with this. Is that your attack roll or my save? Okay.
Beach did roll a 5 plus 6.
You know, it looks cool. Excuse me. If it's any consolation, if that's true, you would need an 18 to hit.
Oh, you also have advantage on that because nothing else has attacked it, right? Since I did the stunning strike.
Spencer, you are muted.
That is the first attack since the stunning strike, so you do have advantage.
There you go. You do have advantage. So roll again. See if you get over that number.
17 question mark?
Do you have anything else? Do you have a guidance?
Bless?
Do you have a bless?
Yes, I have a bless. That's with the bless.
That's with the bless? No! You are just shy. I am so sorry.
I've been rolling so good. I'm not surprised.
That's close enough. With the 17, I think it looks impressive, but doesn't do anything. I think I can't believe ah! As they see you blast lasers out of your eyes.
Dragon off. He's like, yeah, take that.
But only you know as you're looking, you're like, I'm not doing anything over here. You're watching it like deflect and you're like, yikes.
All in a day's work.
A secret that Beach will take to their graves, certainly.
It was a serve, not a slay.
There you go. Ship 2's turn. Another one to get their blink back.
Oh.
You've got to be kidding me. The rifleman atop the crow's nest will load another cartridge or whatever. I don't even know what to call what he shoots. My brain looked for the word and found nothing. Found nothing there.
A rail.
And does miss. This like railgun effect goes off again, but this time the blast streaks off into the sand and leaves a 5-foot crater in the ground below. And you hear a distant damn it from up in the crow's nest, frustrated at them. Wait! His familiar gives him advantage.
This is like a Gundam gun.
7, even worse. The thing tries to help and knocks it further off, and it blasts further out into the desert. It is the dragon of the Tomb Desert's turn. The situation is bad, but it's a dragon. Let's roll, see if it gets its breath weapon back. If not, it's just going to probably attack the ship directly.
Nice.
It does get its breath weapon back.
No.
Wow, that's the second time.
I know. I've rolled 2 checks to get it back, and I've rolled a 5 and a 6.
All breath, no blink.
Now this is fun because it's fun to do it because we're in like a chase sequence. If it was a real encounter, I would have lied. Unfortunately, I'm kidding. We're anti-fudging in this house, but I would have felt bad as I killed the entire party, and that's a promise. It fails to get within maneuver distance of the ship, so it is going to use its breath weapon from the medium range. So everybody roll those Constitution saves, but you have advantage. The DC is only a 14.
Lemon, you have a +3 on the save as well.
The ship succeeds again.
24.
Yeah, raise your hand if you succeed.
Again, guys? All right.
Let's go.
Just barely, though.
The ship pulls off to the side again, mostly free of damage. A few people choking on fumes, but I will say, with the new masking parameters that you were teaching the people below decks, a majority of them survived that may have otherwise began to succumb to this second breath weapon striking in such quick timing. But you are holding on all the same. Harold, you're up. As much as this fight is chaotic and deadly and the dragon is spewing poisonous fumes, it doesn't look like it's on death's door, but it does look like this is about to not be worth its time anymore. You can see its hungry expression beginning to turn to frustration, and that is a good sign. What do you do?
I'm going to load the bolt, the ballista bolt. And I don't think I've got any useful bonus actions, so I load the bolt up.
Great.
And I pat Lemon on the shoulder and say, "You got it."
All
and
right.
then I duck and plug my ears.
Lemon, your reaction goes off. The bolt is loaded, and the ballista whirls around for you to fire.
Cool. I have advantage because of my health action.
Familiar's
Thank God. Much better. All right, so that is a 0.7 plus. So 29 to hit.
29 hits. All right, this blast, another of these huge bolts streaks across the distance, sticking into the side of the titanic form of this dragon. It now has 5 or 6 of these, some of which have, one of which has that crystal on it. It is a pin cushion. You have begun to watch as its front claws have occasionally reached under to yank them out and cast them down into the sand below. This dragon does seem intelligent to some significant capacity.
And I do technically have 2 attacks per action. I'm just gonna shoot at it with my revolver.
And then you just pull your normal gun out and fire. Yeah, absolutely. Roll to hit. I mean, who knows?
That is a 13 plus.
Everybody watches because they are an Eldritch Knight as Lemon throws out their hand and a revolver just appears, just conjures in their hand.
28.
A 28 hit. What the heck? We haven't had a fighter in so long. Yeah, it's just wild to see somebody who's like, I hit stuff. In our games, it's usually kind of oops all casters. And even you did take the one subclass that casts.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good 14 points of damage.
Yeah, you blast into that same eye that was stabbed earlier, and another gush of this thick blood spurts across the side of its face as the dragon lets out another terrible roar. After we hang up, I have to tell you guys some fight mechanics that didn't go off, because this has been... you have rolled unimaginably well. This has been really...
The double bard is
great.
crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Double bard goes wild.
Double bard means nobody fails a check. Apparently, I didn't know that. Hey, DMs at home, careful. Okay, that is Harold's turn. Lemon's held action, so I'll put a little X through that H there. And up next is Hilver. Hilver, the dragon has taken a lot of heavy blows. There's only a few irons left in the fire. The ship is a little damaged. The crew is a little damaged. The dragon is hurt. What do you do?
Yeah, I'll focus on the crew then and use the Healing Hands racial ability for 3d4.
Great. So what role would you associate with that ability? Because we're mostly in like skill challenge territory. You're a spellcaster of some blush, so I could see like a spellcasting ability check could work.
Yeah. I'd probably look for would it maybe like a medicine check to find like the most wounded person?
Yeah, absolutely. Medicine check's a perfect contender.
All right. Oh man, really rolling low, but a flat 10.
A flat 10 doesn't make anything worse, and that sometimes is what matters.
Good. At least I'm not healing an uninjured person then.
Yes. This is one of those scenarios where failing by too much or failing in general can sort of start to ding things. But no, that is a pretty neutral result. You help a couple of people, and a few other people are out of your reach. You're doing your best, but this is extremely chaotic. The circumstance is not made for easy triage of these injured sailors.
Yeah, and I guess using my 45 movement speed, I'll also go over and try to use my bonus action to use a hand of healing on another person too.
Great, just make another medicine check then. Essentially, you've given yourself advantage.
19 plus.
There we go.
27.
You turn your miss into a plus. Huge. Great. What was I about to say? There's something to do with the word triage. What is that sentence I just say? It was very satisfying. It felt like, you know how cellar door is supposed to be like the best two words? Sailor's triage is up there for me now. I said that and I was like, ooh, that wasn't bad. Alrighty. With that, it is the ship's turn. The ship's captain sees that the dragon's injured and that you guys are pelting it and is going to try to make distance. We're going to start with a maneuver roll. Yep, you move from medium to long distance with the dragon. That leaves the ship's action left. With the ship's action... They're going to switch to defensive, so they're going to just take the defend action. So any attacks against the ship will have disadvantage in the next round, if the next round even comes to pass. We shall see. Up next is the caravan. The caravan is going to try to pick up its last few stragglers, and they fail. Not by much, though. 9 on the die. So they don't make the situation worse, which is great. Okay. With that, at initiative count 20, those final bolts sticking into the dragon as both ships carve in different directions, putting it at a long distance from both in perfect range to be peppered by cannons and ballistas, with the caravan far down, and now with your ship interposed between the dragon and the caravan, A grim expression falls across its countenance, and as it looks out, the dragon, with a heavy pulse of its wings, fires off into the sky and begins to fly away from the assembled group, finding this hunt to not be worth its time anymore and its injuries too severe to want to continue. It circles ahead and then immediately seems to pick up a new scent and head in a new direction. You get the sense that this dragon is just perpetually hunting these wastes. And Spencer, you can switch the music back over to the other track.
Ew.
Over the course of the next hour or two, the ships both land. Only your ship can actually land on the ground, which it does because it has so many injured people. And so this ship basically gently places itself upon the ground. The ship of Edifice, seems to need to float and has to send that sort of silvery spectral staircase down. It doesn't seem like their ship is built to touch ground. As everybody begins to catch their breath, sort of air filling their lungs, moments to think, quickly people begin to look around the few bodies of those that passed. It's not too many. And so there are a couple of sad conversations, a few quiet adventuring parties that are now missing a member, some of whom begin to haggle. You begin to hear it. Some of the clerics out amongst the group that are higher level begin to negotiate prices to revive or resurrect those few who have died. There are precious few clerics of sufficient strength, though, so it is a brief conversation, and maybe one or two people are brought up before the dawning realization is, well, I hope there's diamonds where we're going, because there's no more left here. All told, the casualties come out to less than 20. After all of this work is said and done, a very sparse bit of damage. Things have been well maintained overall. Quickly, people begin to catch up and make conversation. And off in the distance, those of you with a high passive perception, bodies that were left abandoned with no one to go look for them. You see one of those strange, long-limbed birds, like the one that was prowling over that obsidian structure. You begin to hear the distant sounds of gnawing. Some sort of carrion bird is not waiting for the body to cool before setting about to its work off in the distance. A few people gather around and quickly realize that they don't know who it is, and that whatever fight with that bird would come isn't worth the time, and begin to set their bags and pack the wagons. And quickly, people begin to get ready to get out and keep moving. What do you all do as things calm down and there are a few precious moments of quiet?
You're muted.
No.
And I missed clicking the unmute, sorry. So I guess the ones that were a little nervous about the bird, I'll just be like, at least a lot of times it is natural for carrion to partake of the body and break it down. So it is a kind of burial as well for those that have fallen.
I guess they just weren't a devout worshiper of Boone. Bad luck. Rest in peace, Cheryl.
A few people offer...
You got the powder monkeys, so I can... They started questioning about Cheryl and Daryl, so you just made the body Cheryl.
That's hilarious. He's like, oh, Cheryl's gone. A word spreads out amongst the crew. As you say, bad luck, speaking of Boone, one of the party members who's one of the various people of the crew that is apparently a devotee does the sort of small symbol of prayer, which is not a little cross with your hands. He takes out a gold coin and flips it twice, and then puts it back in his pocket. A small prayer to Boone in these trying and difficult times. Anybody else?
Harold is going to walk through the survivors here. Anybody who's unconscious or clearly just absolutely messed up, he's going to do lay on hands. He's got 30 points. He's going to get him up to pretty stable and then go away.
I think a couple of those points go to you guys. It was not that... This was more of a skill encounter, but you all are pretty banged up as well. It just... wasn't necessarily worth the math on that as you start to attend to yourselves and some of the others injured, few that are poisoned and still choking on noxious fumes. You offer that 5-point bump to cure poison. and quickly the situation resolves into something better. Not that long after, 2 different people approach the party once you are all assembled. The first, approaching almost sheepishly, you see, carrying preposterously large rifle in hand, the rifleman of the other ship makes his way over to the group. Hey. Thanks for the heads up. Big Boss told me to give you this. Reaches into his bag and he pulls out a dagger. That is in unimaginably pristine and perfect condition and more decorative than any item should ever be. Its handle is gilded with gold and silver and encrusted with various gems and whatnot. The blade is a long pointed dagger's blade, kind of a stiletto type look. He sticks it in a sheath and hands it over and goes, "It's serious business."
Oh, thank you.
One of y'all going to take it or not?
Yeah, I'll take it. What's your name, by the way? I saw you over there in the crow's nest. Super cool gun. Didn't get a chance to catch the name, though.
My name's John. This is Roland. And there's this incredibly small falcon on his it is this tall on his shoulder. This just impossibly small bird with these, like, it looks like a peregrine falcon, but clearly there is something magical, potentially related to Grove, going on, because its eyes are too big and its body is too small. It's like half eyeball as it looks over at you. Ah! And lets out this terrible screech that fills the space. He goes, "So, my name's John. This is Roland."
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Harold. The rest of the gang.
You get into trouble down there, if I'm around, hit me up. And he turns and leaves. You get the sense that John's not a big talker.
Hey, cool guy, though. Shout out to that guy.
And what you have in your hands is a rare magic weapon, a vicious dagger. If you look up what that does, it's crazy.
Yeah, who needs a dagger? It's certainly not going to be Harold. He just grabbed it.
And as that conversation ends and people start to make their way back to the ship, a few other people introduce themselves to you. Most of them are the sort of random, helpful people who maybe are not always prepared in these situations. One of them is the old man with the car with the cannon mounted on the back, who makes his way over and goes, "Hello, nice to meet you. My name's Calhoun Miller. Saw you getting about to your business, scaring off that dragon. I much appreciate it. Sorry, I missed with my cannon. Thought I was going to get him for sure."
Looked like a pretty close shot still.
I know. I can't believe I missed. And he looks over and kicks the tire of his truck, which you are sort of right next to, and goes, "Stupid."
Yeah. Imagine stabilizing it on these sands must be pretty difficult.
I didn't even think about that. He looks back over at the wheels and looks back at you and goes, "We'll discuss this more later. Me and a couple of the others started picking around the dead bodies, and we found something we thought you might have." And he reaches down and he takes out a ring. And he goes, "Found this, don't know what it does. Here you go." And he hands it to whoever holds their hand out first.
Harold grabs. He's holding both things. He grabs it.
We talked about getting a collection together. I hear there's a feller on the other ship who is talking about trying to get something to you as well. And you know you already have this item. So if you want to go look him up, that might not be a bad idea. People seem mighty grateful for what you done.
Certainly glad there weren't too many losses of life.
Yeah. Make for a worse story, though. If half of us had died, it made for a better book.
Yeah.
It's the rules.
Still got a long adventure.
More people to spread the tale, though.
Oh, got me there. All right. And he turns and hops back on his truck. And I will say, any natives of Bastion can roll a history check.
1.
You've no idea who this is.
That guy's weird.
How many years does it take to be a native of Bastion? Is that
I'll
like
let you roll because you've been
10
living there
20?
for about it. Because you've been living there for minimum a year. So I think I'll let you roll
Yeah.
because you've been there for a little while.
All right, with disadvantage.
Yeah, sure. That actually, I'll accept that volunteer disadvantage.
All right, is that a history check then?
Yeah.
These you count.
Yeah, I only rolled a 9.
I got a 12.
Oh wow, nobody knows who this guy is. That is hilarious.
That guy's crazy. That old
DC's not
kook.
even that high.
He's
And
some dude.
you guys make your way back over to the ship, slowly filing up, climbing the rope ladder. Not very far, because it's so low to the ground. I have to imagine tired to the bones as the ship is being cleaned. You are greeted with fanfare and applause as seems appropriate for as far as these people are concerned. Maybe not saving the ship, right? They have their pride. They think things would have worked out if you all hadn't been there, but keeping it so that almost no hands were lost. They had early warning and plenty of time and somebody on the ship's wheel, and this went about as well as it possibly could have. And the appreciation coming off of these people is palpable. The meal that night is a little larger, the conversation comes a little easier, and people who were at first sort of cagey and standoffish with you, maybe out of necessity, who knows what's going to happen when you get where you're going, cannot help but let the walls down a little, and you start to have some a little bit more private conversations with people willing to share in a way that they weren't before. Somebody say something?
I just want two things. I look at, hey, Vay, toss that ring over. And I'm gonna cast Identify.
I toss it.
It is a ring of protection.
Okay.
Cool.
So you've got these two items. Let me pull up what they do really quick so that we can get this information out for those that are sort of eagerly awaiting knowing what they do. These are both canon items, so for once I can just pull them up in the books that I pay all that money for. It's bad that that's rare, but we got to be honest. The Ring of Protection is a rare ring that requires attunement. You get a +1 bonus to armor class and saving throws while you wear it. And then the Vicious Dagger. This is one of my favorite magic items in the game because it's just insane. This magical dagger deals an extra 2d6 damage to creatures it hits.
God.
So it is a dagger that does 1d4 plus 2d6.
Does it need attunement?
I already closed
believe
I
so.
already closed the book.
I have it in mine. No.
Okay,
Cool.
It does not require attunement. It is enchanted to be so horrifically, freakishly sharp that you notice that the inside of its sheath is enchanted to not be able to be cut, because otherwise it would just fall through the sheath down to the ground. It is that sharp. It is supernaturally incharged in that way.
I was everyone. I'm more about guns, but I'm pretty decent with a dagger.
I could always use some protection. Bartholomew is 3 levels rogue.
But before we get into roll-offs and lengthy debates about items, as the ship continues onward and the caravan gets back up to moving, our camera starts to gently lift. Not far, just a couple of feet up above everything. And we all see something that this adventuring cavalcade does not, which is that not too far ahead, maybe an hour's travel, is the chasm that carves its way through the center of the Tomb Desert, the open wound where the blade of the Lophilam Empire killed the Deathwoken primacy. And you know that is where you are going. That is where you will find the Tomb of the Vemeral, which most people call the Hive. And we'll get there next session. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Song of the Reliquary. The Party Makes Things Worse. Extremely fun. You guys kicked the crap out of my dragon. You beat the brakes off of my dragon. We'll talk a little bit of shop afterwards. I don't give peeks behind the screen, but now that the encounter's over, it's not a peek. It's behind the scenes. So you all get the sort of commentary. I don't know. I imagine at some point we'll have Patreon. People can pay $3,000 for to hear my brilliant visions. Thank you so much for watching. You can catch 3 shows that we stream here on Foolhardy Press. They are Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays. On Sundays, you can catch Game Masters, Masters of Games, where we're playing through Baldur's Gate 3, which has been pretty fun. We're in Act 2. We are motoring through Act 2. I think we're going to be through there in a minute. And maybe we'll take some turns on some other games after we do. We took a break after we were done with Act 1, and by that I mean forgot about the Underdark and thought we were done with Act 1. Mondays, of course, you can catch The Party Makes Things Worse. We are playing Song of the Reliquary, which is a D&D short campaign, 15 to 20 episodes set in the world of Prospect, which we came up with on our Tuesday stream, DM Writer's Room, where we demystify the DMing process by coming up with settings, quests, magic items, monsters, all kinds of fun stuff, live with you all. If you throw in an idea, we promise to read it and potentially try to fold it in. Sometimes they're easy to work in, sometimes they're not. Depends on the day. Definitely check us out on TikTok and YouTube, where Spencer does all kinds of great stuff on there. Lots of videos posted recently that have been really fun. Go back and watch the last few. Like and subscribe, drop a comment. Come on. If you had fun, you gotta like one. Go back and watch one if you liked the stream, right? That's fair. That's a bargain. And then you can check us out on DriveThruRPG, where our first adventure, The Lich's Dollhouse, is up, and where we are hoping to have other things posted in the not-too-distant future. I think that's everything. Thank you so much for watching. We will catch you here next week. Peace out, y'all.
See you.